Designing the costumes for the main characters is a lengthy process because neither Dawn or I have any experience in the arts, and all of our seamstress talents are homegrown. We start out by looking at the existing resources, the movies themselves, the Star Wars Encyclopedia. We move on to things, haute couture, books, and we pull out design elements we want to emphasize. Color is very important in conveying deeper meanings about a character. Taryn and Declan, who Dawn and I kind of put together as a couple when we were costuming them, are older, very practical, and we kept them in the darker tones, blues, blacks, accents of metallic chrome and silver. Cade and Ro, on the other hand, who are also a couple, are younger and represent more of the traditional Jedi ideals. And we wanted to stay in keeping with the Jedi neutral and earth tones. So to that end, we put Cade in forest green and brown, very earthy, very warm. His brown leather jacket, Shane painted it, so it's almost forest camouflage. Ro, we kept very soft, more pastels, but also still in the earth tones.
We had 3 shoots that involved extras. Our main shoots would be the quarry, the bar, and then the ambassador scene. And with each one of those, the number of extras went up double. The first one we had about 20, 24. Next one we had something like 40 to 50 extras. And then by the end of it, we had about 80 extras that we had to costume. And in all 3 of those cases, it was our responsibility to costume them with a very limited budget. The first one with the prison, very easy. They can all look the same. So we just did some muslin and some dye jobs and just put some random things there.
Okay, who else needs scarves? How many more scarves? Does everybody now have one obi, one scarf, and one tunic? One tunic.
One of the costumes was one of the rogues.
He had shaved his head for that day.
Just so that, and so we're at the shoot, and a bald cap was going to be placed
with a long warrior braid.
And so we put that on, and then we're sitting there looking at it, and we're like, well, you can clearly see the skull cap, so that's not going to work. It looks
pulling
really
up
fake.
A little, and just
and
wasn't
so then we're
right.
like, well, try makeup over it. Well, the makeup's not working, and meanwhile the clock is going, and they're getting closer and closer to a shot. So finally, one of the PAs comes over, and she's got some kind of macrame rope. And she's like, will this match the hair? And we're like, yeah, that'll work. And so they start winding it around his head, and they're gluing it on the skull cap. And so that's why he's got this nice little, it looks like braided hair. So in the case of the club, costuming was a collaborative effort on our part as well as the extras part. They brought in pieces. Sarah and several other costumers would review what they had. They would mix and match and say, okay, here's your look. Now go over to hair and makeup. And then over at hair and makeup, they were free to do whatever they thought that costume would go with that costume. So we had Eileen Hammy-Jaworski design the makeup so that when our makeup artists were on the set, they weren't completely at a loss on how do I make you look like a club goer. They didn't have to, because we were going to be pressed for time.
So I sent an email to, I guess, Dawn, saying that, oh, if you want, we can bring down some alien creatures, you know, masks and appliances, and fill the cantina with aliens. And she said, no, thank you. We don't want cheesy-looking alien creatures in our bar. And I took offense to that and went and took some pictures of some of the stuff that we had done, sent it down to her, and immediately got a response saying, bring everything. So basically, I think I got more involved in the film basically out of revenge.
The ambassador scene, I had originally wanted, say, 100-some people. Shane says, let's knock it down to 20. Then he gets this incredible location, he gets a museum downtown, and now it's really big and we need a lot of people.
For the museum, we looked at the opulence of the Old Republic starting to become the Empire in the first 2 movies and decided everyone needed to be dressed very formally. Fortunately, those of us involved in the movie have done historical reenactments, the Society for Creative Anachronism and such, and had extensive wardrobes of gowns, shirts, doublets that could be cannibalized and used as a basis for costumes.
check-in for the actors was about 3 o'clock, and they had until about 6 to get into costume. So we're talking about 65 ambassadors, and on top of that we had maybe another 15 or 20 or so stormtroopers.
One of the most striking costumes is Jana's aide. It was actually designed for another Star Wars fan film that never got off the ground. Megan Sherrill had worked on that film. It was perfect for our purposes, and then it was sent off to Sally Carlisle of Carlisle's, and she produced the perfect accompaniment to Jana at the ball. Her aide is the perfect courtier.
Jana's dress for the ambassador scene. In a haute couture wedding book, we found this dress that had these great long sleeves, these medieval sleeves, and we decided to take it one step further and reverse the weave on the back side of it. And we felt that Jana should be absolutely constricted. So we had a corset on her, but it was actually the director, when he was looking at the fitting, who suggested that the corset go on the outside, and that was what that dress needed.
What everybody wants to know about is what's going to happen with Jana's dress. Right now, Dawn has it. I don't think we'll ever get it out of her clutches. If either she or I could fit into it, we'd never stop wearing it.
I was in the dress from approximately 2 o'clock in the afternoon till about 1 a.m. And during that time, I largely found myself to be in character the entire time in that particular location. Because being in character and being very stoic and very calm and very directed gave me an opportunity to focus much less on my own personal discomfort and channel all of that rage and all of that energy into this character and to make her the bitch queen of the universe.